Uganda.
Once again, good morning, Uganda. As I can hear outside, it's really, really raining heavily. So once again, prepare yourself and prepare yourself well as you plan to step out. But as Good Morning Uganda, the whole team, we're here to make sure that we continue to inspire you here on UBC TV. Now, in 2020, Uganda rolled out its new curriculum, and that is for the education sector, which focuses on competence-based learning and aims to equip students with skills such as critical thinking and problem solving. However, this goal cannot be realized by one party. It's a 360-degree party. While schools are playing their role, that means parents are also playing a role in that. And today it's what we want to really look at, how this 360-degree goal can be recognized, and that is nurturing life skills and core values amongst young people, especially now that children are back home for the first term holiday. Now in studio with me is Farida Nasereka. She is the Senior Programs Officer at Uwezo Uganda. Good morning, Farida.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well this morning. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So good to have you before the rain could catch you.
Good.
Yes,
Happy
indeed.
to be here as well.
How is Uwezo Uganda?
We're doing great.
Amazing.
Yes.
So why is this very important in such a time as this? As we understand that the new curriculum was rolled out not just many years back. 2020 is not so far back from now, 5 years ago. And right now it's looking at equipping students with practical skills, critical thinking skills, skills that are pertinent for the 21st century. And it can't be one-sided. It can't be just for the schools.
Definitely.
Why is it important now than before?
You started from a very good note. You said government has done its role by making reforms, curriculum reforms that are really critical to ensuring that we have a whole child produced. A child who's not only academically upright, but one who also has other skills that are required. These skills are important because we know children need to thrive in the ever-changing world. We know there are so many global changes, local changes, so many demands. We'll start from where the National Curriculum Development Center actually started the reforms around shifts in curriculum to see that now there's a focus on more of competences rather than just academics and children passing exams only. You see a point where out there in the labor market, out there the demand is for people to have skills. In addition to knowing and having the technical know-how, they need to have skills that enable them thrive, to deal with worldly challenges, to deal with the demands in the labor market is higher than ever before. So I see that shift as a platform or a starting point for these changes to actually also happen. But we know, whereas the formal institutions like schools is where things like this need to be done, there is also the informal setting that we need to tap into and see that, yes, in as much as government is playing its role, and a lot still needs to be done because changes are actually gradual and shifts do not easily come with the desires or the goals we want to see in the long run immediately. But again, alongside what government is doing, there's also need for the other stones that will enable us have this whole child produced to also play a role. So that's where we are coming in with issues around the importance of nurturing life skills and values, even in the homes, in the communities, by parents who are also part of the important stakeholders in enabling a child thrive, enabling a child acquire the best out of their education, but also to see that once a child is being educated, they are not only actually being educated from the setting of the school, but also from home, where we know that a parent has a role in supporting the development of these skills among young people. Skills like problem solving. We know a lot is happening out there. There's so many issues that children deal with. There are so many global demands. There's so many innovative things that our children need to partake of. But if they do not have these skills and know the know-how, it is not just enough. Yeah.
Very profound. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to think that Uganda came on board a little late, but the good thing is we are on a journey now.
Yeah,
the ball is rolling, right?
Definitely.
But in this nurturing, in this whole change that is taking place, teachers are being equipped because they are handling these children more than the parents. They spend more time in school more than at home. Yet even at home, there is a role supposed to be played like you've painted it. But how are parents being equipped for this goal to be realized?
I will take us back to the proverb known commonly across Uganda. It takes a village to raise a child. These life skills, or what we are calling 21st century skills, for example, creativity, problem solving, learning to learn, are actually not very new because we have been living with them in our societies. But along the way, maybe we departed from them, and we need to get back to the drawing board as parents, as communities, to also support this. We've become a little bit individualized, but in that individualization, are we actually doing enough to support our children to acquire these skills? Can a child actually think beyond something that they've been given, or beyond a situation they are facing, and know I need to discern it and break it down into smaller issues so that I can solve a problem I'm facing? Or do I actually treat it as an emergency and I need to think through it? So such are skills that are lacking that we've seen amongst young people. And you know, it being a holiday now, I think it's more or less the right time for, specifically now, for us to engage. Although it should have been happening, because we know in the communities, this is a role parents have. In the home, it's the role a parent plays. Before you take a child to school, you teach them things like values. You teach them the value of respect. You teach them initial skills, like how to communicate without maybe yelling, how to really respond appropriately when asked, how to listen. All those are skills that even if I am a trained doctor or a journalist like you, I need those other skills to build me up and enable me perform my job well, play my role in society, but also live with others comfortably and in a peaceful environment. Do I have the ethics that actually enable me perform my role
Very
in whatever
interesting.
situation?
If you are just joining in, we are looking at nurturing life skills and core values to amongst young people to prepare them for a purpose-driven life. And now that they are back home for the holidays, it's more important than ever that parents too are involved. Now, you've painted it indeed that as parents, it starts from home. Things as simple as values, things as simple as learning how to greet, things as simple as learning how to stay with others, all start from home and not from school. So when we say life skills and core values, what is the detail of that?
Well, the detail is what we call skills or things or competences that we need to thrive, that we need to survive with others, that we need to play our roles in society, that we need to change situations, that will enable us actually deal also with challenges or situations that we come across daily. So if we do not prepare these children to have the skills to deal with such issues, when they face them, we face challenges in society. When we deal with issues around ethics, we are looking at things like peaceful living. We are looking at things like respect. We are looking at things like harmonious living. We know we are in societies where we come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different ethnic groups. But how do we live peacefully so that I am able to realize my goal and you also realize your goal without having issues across affecting one another? So that is how we can harmoniously work together in society, thrive, develop ourselves, but also support these children to be able to acquire those competences, because they need them in life. They need them in school. They need them in the community. They need them wherever they are.
That's very, very true. Now, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 0709602592 is the number to which you send your WhatsApp message and share your opinion or ask a question to Farida. Farida Naserika is a senior program officer at Uwezo, Uganda, and we are talking about nurturing life skills and core values amongst young people for a purpose-driven life. And when we look at everything life skilling and everything that comes in there, we look at the parents, we look at the teachers at school, we look at the school structure, we even look at the community, not just the home where the child comes from, but the community where they stay, the families. One would wonder, especially in this day-to-day, this age where everything is so individualized, who do you think should take the higher role in nurturing these skills and core values? Should it be the parents? Should it be the school? Should it be the community? Should it be a collaborative effort? Who do you think has a bigger share on the pie chart?
It actually should be a situation where we are seeing equal apportioning. Because when you leave it to the school, the child also spends time at home.
Yes.
When you leave it to the community, at the end of the day, the child spends time at home. In your household, in your home as a parent, you will see things happening or not happening, and then when you send the child to the community, they are going to become an issue to the community or to the school just because you didn't play your part. So I would see it as a situation where everyone has to play an equal role. Collaboratively. An undertaking where we all work together, because we are all part of the education system. Even if we look at the government as the only provider of education, but there is also the saying that learning begins from home. So the little steps that happen at home also contribute to the learning that the child will actually acquire. Even the learnings in the community, as these children walk to school every day, they'll see a situation and say, oh no, the drainage channel here is actually expanding whenever it rains. What do we need to do about it? So that is already a problem-solving skill being they probably enhanced. They are aware, but maybe something needs to be done to support this child know that actually if I see a problem, it's not only stopping on seeing the problem, but what do I have to do to actually solve the problem? What information do I need to solve the problem? Why is actually the problem even existing? Maybe if we worked together as a community as one of the solutions or something else that we need to do, we can be able to see the solution solved. So you know, those situations, they are around their communities, they are in the schools, they are in their homes, and that's why I say that actually this is something that should be done collaboratively, really.
Now, one of the things that spark or imbue children to start thinking that way, where they start to look at, say, trenches, it's widening every day. It takes a child who's very critical and has some form of training and background in regards to that. And one of the ways I know is communication is key.
Exactly.
And one of the problems most individuals face as adults is communication, which ideally, if you think about it, is a training that should start from home and not from school. How best can parents, especially during this time, during the holidays, as they spend time with their kids, how best do you think can they cultivate the culture of effective communication? Keep in mind that even the parents are struggling.
Of course.
Struggling adults.
Certainly.
Yes.
And okay, one of the things is possibly listen. You know, these children also have issues that they have. Do we actually listen to them? Communication involves listening, receiving information, you know, negotiating about certain situations. So when these children talk, do we listen to them? When we talk, do they listen to us? Do we receive and internalize that information? So yes, communication as one of the skills is actually cross-cutting. These skills do not stand in isolation. You will see communication cutting across problem solving, cutting across creative thinking and innovation, because if you come up with an innovative product, maybe like a cup, but you cannot speak about it, you cannot actually have the esteem or confidence to say, yeah, I made this cup out of this material, and you're actually pitching for it, then it means you're actually not communicating. So right from home, we need to start listening, we need to start sharing information, we need to open up our minds. These children know a lot. They are learning a lot from school, they are learning a lot from their peers, but are we actually also nurturing them? Even when they are lacking, encourage them to speak.
So in other words, that speaks into the parenting mode of actually being a friend.
A
friend with boundaries.
A friend with boundaries,
yes,
definitely.
with boundaries.
Because they would need to know, why is it that this time round the tone is changing?
Yes.
Why actually is it changing. Now that's when we bring in actually another skill of self-awareness, perception, and perspective thinking. Why is it? So that questioning, those added thoughts that are reflections will enable me deal with a situation and actually know that maybe now I don't need to overreact. I need to step back and first analyze the situation. That is what we need in these children.
Very pertinent. But let's now talk about the social media era, the digital era altogether. It's a place where you see that even when parents are with their children are on their phones or their tabs, or somewhat they're in the same room with their parents, but they're not together ultimately. So how do you think core values, skills, life skills that we're in that type of nurturing can be combined with the digital era under which we are raising our children?
Definitely, it's really a good question you've raised. The issue is that these children actually in this digital era, 21st century requires technological knowledge. It requires IT skills, digital awareness. These children actually need these skills, but how do they use them is one of the things that we need to also discern. What are they using them for? Because, like you said, communication is key. Are they actually communicating right? Are they actually using these gadgets for research? Or are they actually just, on TikTok, indulging with friends? And again, you're seeing a situation where now there's detachment from the parent. Everyone is on their phones. So when are you going to interact with each other and nurture this child to actually think through some of the things that we need to do to build these skills? Skills like doing things together, teaching them to do things, asking them questions. If you're all on your phones, definitely you're not using technology for the right reason. So we can use technology for research, we can use it to know what is happening elsewhere, but again, use it carefully. Like we said, we bring in also the value of respect. If it is time for a meal and everyone is on their phones, you're not respecting the person who took time to actually prepare the meal. You're not respecting each other because you're actually on phone. So these things are really cross-cutting. I will use the IT skills, I need them, the children need them, but how do they use them respectfully? How do they use them to enhance themselves?
And if you say that, I think it also now comes back when you take it back to school. School has structures. There's a time for the lab where you access computers and use them, but it's just for a certain time. And then there's a time where you're all in class together, interacting with each other, which ideally should be the same skill borrowed, even at home.
Exactly.
Very profound. Now, do send in your comments. I believe my producer is sharing them anytime soon so that we are able to read them. 0709602592. We are talking about nurturing life skills and core values amongst young people for a purpose-driven life. Now, Farida, what message would you have for parents this holiday as they receive their children? Some of them don't even know what to do with the children.
Exactly.
And one thing I understand for sure is you can't give what you don't have.
Definitely.
Yes.
You can't give what you don't have. It's a very good parting point.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's very important for parents to actually nurture these skills, support these children develop these skills, because at the end of the day, they're going to come back to you. They'll be part of your home. They'll be part of the community where you live. So supporting these children acquire skills in a way that you help them do things with you.
Yes.
Have them ask questions. Encourage curiosity. Share with them. Give them tasks that enable them develop problem solving, for example, as a skill. And as part of the Action for Life Skills and Values, which is the initiative that is actually doing a lot of this work around life skills and values nurturing, we have a running initiative in communities where we want to engage with parents to support them develop these skills as well, because you said you can't give what you don't have.
Yes.
So how will I nurture problem solving in a child if I do not even know what problem solving is? How can I support this child acquire these skills? So we have sort of an approach where we want to support parents actually to acquire these.
Has it been rolled out already?
We are rolling it out this week.
Oh,
yeah, in
amazing.
6 districts. Shema, Kanungu, Mukono, Kampala. It's a mix of urban and rural. Tororo, Oyam, so about 6 districts where we believe we're going to have dialogues with communities. Bring them back, talk to them, support them, and share ideas with them on how they can support these children acquire skills. We're going to start with just one skill, problem solving, because again, you cannot have everything done at the same time. So we want to start with problem solving and then help these parents go back, do things with the children, reflect on what has happened in the dialogues. What is it that is actually challenging them in supporting their children acquire these skills? What is it that they need to do extra? What are they not doing right? What do they need to pick from each other? What are the things that will actually help I, as a parent, support this child? So that at the end of the day, when they go back to school, maybe they are a little bit different. And along the way, even when they have gone back to school, I will continue, because learning is a lifelong journey.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, as we start to bring this to a close, let me read some of your comments. Good morning, Uganda. I'm Namai Sisiraj CN from Bale. Depending on nurturing life skills and core values, the program is likely good. But again, have you ever noticed that most of the private schools have been stagnated due to the materials needed? Most of the parents have seen it as a challenge due to the money being paid for the project work, yet the school dues are at their apex. What would you have to share with Siraj's comment there?
Of course, he's possibly right in one way that as the changes or shifts in the curriculum happen, of course it comes with some need for resources.
Yes.
Training teachers, resources that are needed in the classroom. For example, for me to be able to use, and these skills are actually integrated in the subjects that children are learning. So the teacher at the end of the day will teach a subject or a topic in biology, maybe reproduction. And as they are teaching these, at the end of the day, they are assessing a child. Are they able to communicate right? Are they able to share experiences in the way that is expected? Are they actually cooperating with others if I'm giving them group work? So it's not only about imparting knowledge, but also imparting skills at the same time. Yes. So the issue is that in the situation where we have huge class sizes, how is the teacher at the center able to support all these children acquire these skills? When he talks about the project work, of course in project work, we're also seeing these children having actually all these skills embedded within. How am I doing a project that is innovative, for example? Have I used critical thinking as a skill?
Yes.
Am I doing something that is really innovative? Have I thought through the process? Am I being analytical to be able to know if I use these materials and not these, it's cost effective? So the issue is, yes, it has some expenses attached to it, but what I know about project work is supposed to be use of locally available materials. So for the child to use all these other skills, creative thinking, relatedly, and come up with something.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Farida. Very profound. Now, many of your questions are coming through, and I believe we shall have Farida back so that we engage more in this conversation because it's very important and it relates with each one of us. But I'll read this one last comment as we close. Can you please assess and discuss what prom is in schools, the exorbitant fees involved, and the impact to poor parents? Prom and its issues. Oh. Anyways, prom will be discussed another time. Anyway, prom has existed since even in my time. Sosh prom.
Used to call it Sosh.
Sosh, yes. But I will indeed see the impact of it and what it really builds on a child as they go through school. But thank you so much for being a part of the show, for your comments and for your opinions. We'll definitely have Farida back so that this topic is elaborated wider. But good morning, Uganda. GMU Tourism Express is up next. We have business, we have sports, so the show still goes on.